The following is an encore Flip Your Marketing Flops Micro Summit interview. Warning: although we make our best efforts to provide the latest information, due to the ever-changing nature of the digital marketing industry, some information in this interview may be subject to change. Does your marketing platform feel like it is duct-taped with zaps holding it all together? Would you like to see how you might be able to save $700 in monthly expenses? Have you ever considered an all-in-one marketing platform? Join us today as Kartra all-in-one expert Jessica Scotten tells us why all-in-one marketing platforms are growing in popularity, who benefits from being a Kartra user, what the best things are about Kartra, and the mistakes to avoid while using it. I'm your host, Joe Sayles Jr., lead generation strategist. Welcome to Flip Your Marketing Flops. Welcome to the Flip Your Marketing Flops podcast, providing weekly episodes of presentations, interviews, and conversations with marketing professionals and industry experts discussing common marketing mistakes and how to avoid them. My purpose here is to help entrepreneurs like local business owners, small business marketers, coaches, authors, speakers, and new digital marketing professionals who don't have all of the insider marketing knowledge, hacks, tips, and secrets that would prevent those common mistakes, saving entrepreneurs both time and money. Today's episode is an interview I did back in March of 2021 for the third Flip Your Marketing Flops Micro Summit. Personally, as a longtime Kartra user, I think this interview with Kartra expert Jessica Scotten is a great fit with this month's platform theme. Let me tell you a little bit about Jessica Scotten. I first learned of Jessica while learning about Kartra in the Facebook group prior to becoming a Kartra user back in 2018. I kept seeing her name popping up as I was researching different questions I had and different things I wanted to know about Kartra. I realized quickly that Jessica is one of the top experts in this platform and helps many people with their Kartra needs. Jessica is the Kartra certified owner of Pineapple Relations. Pineapple Relations provides design and building solutions as well as one-on-one consulting with successful business owners looking to automate and scale their businesses with Kartra. So grab a pen and some paper, sit back, take some notes, and enjoy this interview from the spring of 2021. Jessica, welcome to the program.
Hi, Joe. Thanks so much for having me.
Your business is Pineapple Relations, right?
Yes.
And you said Pineapple Relations provides design and building solutions as well as one-on-one consulting to successful business owners looking to automate and scale their businesses with Kartra. Tell me a little bit more about that. Tell me about yourself. Tell me about your awards and a little bit about you so that the audience knows who you are.
Absolutely. So 4 years ago now, I had a client who I was doing just odds and ends for, who purchased Kartra in beta. I had never heard of this word before. I probably couldn't spell it if you put it in front of me. And she said, "You get to figure it out." And I went, "Oh." So I made sure that I watched every video I could. And there wasn't much at the time because it was brand new. This was right after they launched on their very first launch. But I did everything I could to learn everything I could about it. And I got in Facebook groups and I absorbed every piece of everything that I could. Brings you forward to May of last year when the world had pretty much closed and everybody was at home, but Kartra reached out and recognized me as one of their top experts, which changed absolutely everything in one day. It's very strange to be able to say, I know the day that my business changed on one day. I should probably have that date committed to memory other than early May. But since then, since that recognition and since they've recognized me as one of their top performing consultants or users or whatever you want to say. All I've been doing since then has been building out systems for clients. And I use the word systems instead of funnels because a lot of them are more systematic than they are like funnels, because funnels have an endpoint, right?
Right.
And then teaching people how to use Kartra in their business, because build solutions aren't always the right place for people. Sometimes and it's what I come back to all the time, is you have to know how to drive the bus. I don't care if you ever intend on sitting in the driver's seat, but at some point I want you to know how to be able to get in there and do the actual stuff in your account. So
That's interesting that you said that, because that relates directly to everything that I'm doing. Because basically, my whole basis for the system that I've created is about helping business owners to understand what they need to know so that they can turn around and say, okay, I can hire this, or I can have somebody else do that. But if I can figure out how to build my own strategy for myself, then everything else will, it'll be easy to fall in place. So they do have to have some understanding of things if they're going to be in the digital world. And so I follow that completely.
of course. And a lot of times what we come back to is that you need to know the capacity of what you're working with in order to be able to design things that are able to do what you want them to do. If you don't know, and my dad was a car guy, so I go back to car analogies all the time, but if you don't know your car has paddle shifters, you're never going to use your paddle shifters, right? Although
Right.
I have paddle shifters and I never use them, but I know they're there and I know what they do, kind of like anti-lock brakes or a Sirius XM system in the car. Like if you know how to use it, you can use those tools to your advantage. But if you don't know they're even there, then you can't even begin to think about all the options.
That makes me laugh. This weekend, we just went on a road trip and we just got back. And on the road trip, we had a vehicle, and I didn't go through and try to figure out the vehicle before we started going. So as we're going along, here we are traveling. The speed limit was 80 where we went. And so we were traveling at 80 miles an hour, and I'm trying to do something. I'm like, the car's trying to do something different than what I'm trying to input into it. So as I'm driving, my wife tells me, eventually she pushes a button and then that stopped. And then all of a sudden it was working better. I was like, oh, there's a few things I didn't learn about the car going. So I didn't even know it had these capabilities. Again, same kind of thing. You don't know what you don't know sometimes. And
I tell my clients, like, we are both limited by first your creativity and what you want to do, and then my ability to deliver on your creative limits. So
right.
It's kind of like there are things that I've seen clients do that I've never thought of before. So I had a client build out he runs a gym in Pennsylvania. He built his training program for the coaches that he hires in a Kartra program. I'd never thought of that.
Right.
I have a yoga teacher out in California who has pre-scheduled an entire year's worth of initial first release videos for her membership. So people in her membership get a weekend update video, but it was her quarantine project. She wanted to get a year ahead. So she built out the membership. She made an entire year's worth of unique videos, and we've scheduled them to be dripped every weekend for an entire year.
Wow.
These are things that we never, I wouldn't have come up with that on my own. Sure, give me enough time to do it and I would have got there. But we're always seeing new creative ways to use the technology when you know the capabilities behind it.
Yep. Well, it related to this is when I found out that Kartra, part of their development was done with martial arts, with a martial arts studio, I was shocked because my background almost completely moving into marketing started with running martial arts studios. And, the more I thought about it, the more I think about it, okay, there was some aspects of running a martial arts studio that Kartra wasn't geared to do, but the majority of what I needed, the marketing end of running my martial arts studio, there was nothing like this when I was running the studios. There was nothing that had the capabilities. There was nothing to be able to pull the back end together. There was none of what Kartra does. So before we get too much further into that, what I do want to say, you actually addressed some questions I had in mind for you. So before I get rolling with that, This is part of a virtual summit series where we talk about, mostly we talk about mistakes or we talk about hidden things in this particular case. And so Kartra, I feel, is one of the hidden secrets. Hence, I asked you to come on as a speaker because I believe all-in-one solutions for the general public, they're not known about. And if they knew about them, they would give that a lot more attention. So with that being said, what is one of the biggest mistakes, or what would be some of the biggest hidden secrets related to what you do that you see business owners missing out on, or mistakes they're making, or secrets they're missing out on? What would you say related especially to what you do in using Kartra?
Sure. So what I see a lot of is that clients now I want to preface this up because I don't want one of the biggest things that I stand for is that I don't want you spending more than you need to spend on your business. I don't want you spending. Kartra starts at $100 a month and goes
Right.
up to, I don't know what it goes up to because they stop listing prices at like $500.
Right.
I don't want you spending more than what you're generating on a platform.
Yep.
That's my first thing. I want you to at least be making the cost of a service before you start paying it. So if it costs you $100 a month, you need to have a couple people paying you $20 a month in your membership to at least be covering the cost of your software.
Totally get that.
That's the first thing that I want to say. Before I go in and talk about what could be considered an expensive product, it starts at $100 a month. You're limited on leads, you're limited on bandwidth, you're limited on really in every category. So you need to be spending with them $200 a month to at least have a fully robust system with the wheels off that you can do whatever you want with.
Right.
From there, let me back it up. Before you get to that point, where I see people make a mistake is starting to do things in all sorts of different places. They've got a list in MailChimp. They have a list in MailerLite. They have a list in ActiveCampaign. They're paying this for that. They have videos in Vimeo. They just start and do all sorts of things all over the place without having some kind of goal of what they're doing. So whether
Yep.
you're generating leads. Free platforms are amazing. MailerLite at the free level is so good. The Vimeo account at no cost is very, very good. But if you're going to do something like that, have a plan. Have thoughts going forward with what you want to gain out of this. What are you doing with MailerLite? MailerLite, I am generating leads. That's it. Anything else? Nope, that's it. But when you start to put things in all sorts of different places, and I'm guilty of it too, you start to forget where your stuff is.
Yep.
And that's where you're like, oh, but this is here and this is there. And then what starts to happen is then you find Zapier. And you're like, oh, but I can bring this over here. And then you start, you're going to laugh at me. You start holding your business together with a ball of Zaps, which is a ball of duct tape.
Yep.
And it's a mess.
Yep.
So if you're going to move to one of these all-in-one, or I'm going to say most in one, because they're not really all in one. They try, they've got some opportunities and some things are in development, but it's still a most in one platform. Because when you don't have to rely on a Zap to bring you an email address in, or tell an email platform that a purchase has been made and to turn off the sequence for this person, things just all start to work a little better together.
Yep.
That would be my biggest thing that I see. But I also don't want to push a program on people that costs before they're ready to.
Right. Right. It's funny because even everything I do in lead generation is about lead generation efficiency and effectiveness. And sometimes, in fact, I've got it to a point where I'm demonstrating the value, the amount that they're saving by spending that $100 budget, because when they start piecing everything together, the next thing you know, the freemiums get out of the free stage and get into the premium stages. Next thing you know, you're paying for this and that and this and that and this and that. And, I've seen the demonstrations of, Kartra, at its low end levels being, either $99 or $250 a month, and comparing that to when people are putting out $700, $800 a month. And people don't realize that if they were aware of the Kartras of the world, that they might be saving quite a bit of money. And like you'll say, I'm sure there's other issues that could be happening to them by having everything duct taped together. So I'll let you lead into all of that.
Of course. I think the most dramatic one I saw was I moved a fitness gentleman from a whole bunch of places into Kartra. And at the end of it, I asked him, I'm like, what are you paying MailChimp? And he goes, I was paying MailChimp $699 a month.
Wow.
One platform.
Wow.
By eliminating one platform for him. That didn't include premium YouTube. Most of his ads are done on YouTube. He's staying on YouTube for another thing. That didn't include the member space that they were using. It didn't include Shopify that we were able to eliminate by doing
Right.
all of those things. He's like, I can't even tell you how much he for me is the highest tier I've seen somebody pay in Kartra. I imported 100,000 leads for him.
Wow.
But that's what he was paying MailChimp to have all of those leads in MailChimp. Everything else aside, all of that goes into savings now because it was all money that he was spending.
So you have a giant testimonial somewhere, right?
Somewhere, yes. My relationship with my clients is one of like complete anonymity, where I don't share the names of my clients, but there are testimonials out there.
Good. You know, going back to, well, I'm trying to think, because we were chatting before we started the interview. Was there anything that I wish I had taken notes, but I wasn't even prepared to write down the things that we said. What is something that we talked about right before we got started that we haven't addressed right now? There was something I really wanted to.
What did I say? I don't give me a second. It'll come back to me. We talk about the duct tape, but we've had that, we've had the duct tape conversation before. Is it time? It's time, isn't it?
Yes, it was.
So Kartra is an incredibly robust system. It has the ability to do lots of things. It runs your forms. It runs your automatic email sequences. It can do your email marketing, so your broadcast-based emails. It can host your pages. It can hold your products. It holds your memberships or your courses or sites that you're selling to people. It has an affiliate section. It has a calendar section. I don't recommend that you use it, but there are lots of things within Kartra. And I think where a lot of people get scared or get hesitant with something like this is it is a massive program. It has a lot of moving parts and a lot of bells and whistles. And it can be intimidating.
Yep.
I know this, but it can all be done.
Yep.
And I think what a lot of people see is they get in and they see all of these things and they get crazy scared because they feel like they need to use all of these things, when in reality, you don't need. If you don't want an affiliate program, don't run an affiliate program.
Right.
If you don't want to do a course or a membership, don't do it. We're moving somebody into Kartra from MailChimp now. All they're going to be doing is email.
Yep. Just that alone.
That is the only thing they're going to be doing.
Yep.
But where it comes in is it is not an intuitive, natural program.
Right.
It's kind of like learning Microsoft Access when Microsoft Word is so pretty and so user friendly. It's twice I've referenced Microsoft Access this week.
Should we read into that?
No, don't. It's not coming back. It's dead. But you have to be able to spend the time, and you have to be willing to spend the time, invest an hour to save thousands of hours in the end. Because if you spend the time to set up an automation that will automatically do X when Y happens, or when someone cancels their subscription, mark them canceled and make sure you remove the tags that say they're a member and take them off the members list.
Right.
That automation will save you a ton of time in the end, but you have to learn how to use it.
Right.
First, in making that investment in yourself and in your business, whether that's for someone to teach you how to do it, or whether you can find the YouTube videos to learn how to do it yourself. All of the resources are out there for you. With Kartra, especially, there's the main Facebook group that has 20,000 people in it. There's the women's Facebook group. There's the little Facebook group that I just started for Kartra users. Jody Jealous has a very large um, Facebook group for people to ask and get help from. The community, if there's anything that I love about this platform, aside from the platform itself, it's the community of
Yeah.
people that are there to help if you need help,
Yep.
to jump on a call. I can't tell you how many times I'm like, dude, I got you in 5 minutes. Like, I'll give you 5 minutes of time, we'll get you all fixed. And that second set of eyes that so many people are willing to do and to give you has been beneficial to me when I was learning, and I've been able to pay that forward to people on the other side too.
Right. And, I want to add to that because number one of the things I had written down, you touched on it, was the community. I had been looking at two other platforms prior to coming to Kartra, and I was kind of giving up on Kartra because at the time it was newer. I've been using Kartra, I think it's been 3 years, 2.5 years, something like that. And I was giving it a thought, but it wasn't the primary, it was the secondary. And then, I started paying attention to the community, started really focusing on the communities before I got involved. And that's one of the helping factors in my decision to become a Kartra user, was that there wasn't a sell affiliate program, get you in because of this. It was a real program that was really being utilized. It didn't have the length of time that some of the old ones are, but then again, I kind of have the mindset. You talked about selling cars, or your father being in cars. I worked as a digital marketer for a car dealership, and I used to look at, when I was growing up, the Japanese cars had come to America and were the big thing, and they were the ones that usually had better gas mileage and ran better. And then they kind of got complacent because they had their niche in the market forever. And then along came the Korean car makers behind them. And what they do, they kind of filled that same spot, or at least competed in that same spot. And with that said, Kartra to me kind of did the same thing. It jumped into a niche, a market that was already existent. There were some big players in it, but they wiggled their spot, and made a space for themselves. And what I liked was their community was very active and very responsive. In fact, responsive, especially since COVID, their community, when I have an issue, I go to their community before I go to their support desk, simply because the community is so fast and has the answers, And you touched on another point. I heard you say, get into it. Like, you had the customer who's only, they're doing it for email. That reminds me of when I got started. I got started with one of the things I knew I needed to have. I wanted to do follow-up with the landing pages I built. Mind you, my background, I had been building WordPress websites. I'd been doing paid ads and all this other stuff. But I had a landing page maker, and I wasn't really sure, other than making the landing page itself, I wasn't sure how to use its capabilities, and it was missing several. So when I got to Kartra, I said, I see all the things, and it checked off so many things I knew in the future I was going to want, but all I wanted right then was to build landing pages fast. I wanted to be able to follow up with the people with the landing pages, and I wanted it to be able to move into the future of what I want. And that made it simple for me. I only had to learn 2 sections. And so you mentioned when they're training, they need to identify what they're looking for and what they need now, and train on that. And then you can add, you have time. You keep adding this and adding that to it. And everything works in it together. It doesn't, like, as a WordPress builder, things don't always play well together. And they might be playing well together for a year or 6 months or 3 months. And you turn around and something's broken.
You forget to update your plugin.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Or you have it automatically update, and guess what happens? So it happens both ways.
And that's where a lot of people start. What are we doing today? We're building all I want to do today is to get an opt-in going and running. Cool.
Yep.
Pages, forms, sequence. That's
Yep.
all we're doing today. We're not looking at anything else. Then we can add to it, and then we can build to it. What comes after sequence 1? Sequence 2. What comes after
Yep.
sequence 2?
Yep.
Then we talk about a sales sequence. But
Next thing you know, you're using like, what is it, 14 different things or so. It was like, I know when I got started, I was using 2 or 3, and now I'm using 10 or 11 of its capabilities now, and it just, everybody, if you give it time, you give yourself a little bit of patience, you can learn it. And, it's like, I still haven't gone through the training sequence from A to Z, but I tell you what, when I have an issue, I go to the Facebook group and I go to YouTube, and I can find things that I'm looking for pretty fast there. So I want to we're getting close to the time to wrap this up. So I had some fun questions for
yeah,
you.
let's do it.
What is the biggest mistake or biggest failure you've had using Kartra?
That I didn't get myself an account until a year ago.
Really? And how long were you working with it?
I was using client accounts. I was only operating in client accounts. I didn't have my own account. That limited my ability to test things and to be able to run samples of things on my own.
Right.
Um, that would probably be my biggest
That's great.
learning piece, was that in my learning process, I was like, I don't need this account. I don't want to pay $100 a month for it. That was me.
Yep.
I can do everything I need to do from client accounts. And I remember asking clients, I'm like, hey, I've got this idea. This thing I want to do for you. Can I run a demo in your account? And they would all say, yes, that's fine. But really, that's not a way to run a business.
Yeah.
What was the other part of it? What was
the thing? This is failures or mistakes. So you that covers it. That covers it.
Yeah, and then not really knowing. Initially, you go a little crazy with the tagging system because people come from other tagging structures. And almost every account I go into, you don't need this many tags as you have, I promise.
Yep.
But coming from things like ActiveCampaign or Infusionsoft, the only way you have to track and measure people are with tags. Well, with Kartra, you can measure on about 150 different things.
Yeah.
And then everything you can measure against, you can measure the opposite of. So I want a list of people who have not purchased this thing. It looks for purchases. Sure, you can do it by tags, but you're doing more work than necessary. So not really understanding that in the beginning. And then not really knowing how the system works. Like but there are some things that they don't put out there that you learn by doing.
Such as what? If you have one on the top of your head.
No, I got a bunch of them. It's just how much
how much time do we have, right?
I gotta get myself in trouble. If you have a product, so something that I'll do two. A product that you're selling for, and it's attached to a membership. So something that you are giving access to.
Right.
And it's a recurring thing, monthly or annually, you're continuing to charge them. And that person, either their payment fails, they cancel, or they're refunded, the system will automatically remove them from your course. That was one of the things so I had all of these tags and all of these automations written. If they remove them from access, well, that's already happening. Like, you're just using things because they're there, not because I didn't test it well enough.
Got it.
The other thing that's relatively new, and you may not know this, up until, and I don't even whatever, I'll do it anyways. Up until recently, the minimum product that you could sell was $1, right?
Mm-hmm.
They've changed it.
To what?
0.
Really?
And I don't like it. And here's why. Here's ethics in doing the right thing when it comes to business. So now you can have a $0 product registered in Kartra. You can also use a coupon to take your product down to 0. So you tell people that it's free, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they go to the page and they say, yes, I want this for free. And then they go to the checkout and they say, here's my name, here's my address. Yes, I want this for free. And then it asks you for a credit card. And you go, well, that's weird. So you get up and you walk across the room and you go get your credit card and enter your credit card number and you push submit. And your credit card gets charged for $1.
Oh. Yeah. Wow.
And I'm really not okay with this.
Yeah, that's an
Because
issue.
it's not Kartra doing it. It's your payment processor doing it,
Yes.
your Stripe or your authorized.net.
Right.
So when I tested it, and I was upset because it was my money in my account going into my business.
Yep.
I had a floating charge on my credit card for 4 days
Wow.
before that charge floated away. And it
Right.
floated away. It went away. It did not stick because it was just a card check, like kind of when you go to the gas station
Yep.
and they authorize you for $1. It's that.
Right. That makes sense.
I don't like it.
Yep. Well,
You're
this is
just
the
holding
reason why people that are looking into Kartra should be following you on your Facebook group, which I didn't
because
remember you having. So I want to make sure that you, as we close this, that you give us your Facebook group name.
absolutely. So the Facebook group name, and you'll link this somewhere
Yes.
below. The Facebook is Community of Kartra Users. It is a uncensored group. I usually do a Friday live if I remember. That talks about, really, it's designed as a Q&A if you want to jump in and ask questions, if you want to pop questions in during the week. But I talk about, it's usually like 7 or 8 minutes, and I talk about what's going on, what I'm seeing. I had a
Right.
very long conversation about the $0
Right.
$0 thing because I really wasn't happy with it. Also because I'm the one that's like, no, that's not a thing. And they're like, well, yes, it is. And then I have to
Wow.
go test it and prove it. And
Well, and that's one of those things. I mean, I've tested those. I've done 5 cent and 10 cent tests in other platforms, so I could totally see that happening. Never even thought about that, but could totally see how that would
as
happen.
the first time user, people come in and they're like, I want to give this away for free.
Hmm.
And this is what they do. They go to a product, they make it for free, they sell it to the market. And then all I can say is, like, from being in restaurants for 20 years, is think about the customer experience. You told them
Yeah.
it was free. They entered your card, they charged you, you held their money for 4 days.
Right.
On the back end of Kartra, it's not even a transaction, so you can't refund it. All you have
Right.
to do is say, "Sorry, dude, that'll fall off in 4 days."
Yep.
Like, that's not for me. I don't like that. But in addition to the community Facebook group, there's a free resources page where I have, currently on there, there's a video about email, couple videos, email notifications, and then a double verification for forms. So if you're being attacked by little robot computer things that are
Bots.
coming at you,
Yep.
there's a couple free worksheets and downloads on how to build things to increase your efficiency. A couple, like a checklist of the first handful of things that you should be doing, because Kartra sets up a couple things that don't really make a ton of sense, but they make sense in the way that they're setting their
Right.
accounts up. A couple, like, default placeholder things that need to be adjusted when you go in, the Facebook group, and then, a Tuesday tips, weekly pop in. I'll pop into your mailbox and tell you something cool and exciting about Kartra.
Well, that's pretty incredible. And we can find you at learn.pineapple. Well, first of all, we can find you at pineapple.relations.com, right?
Sure. So, know too much about too many things. Pineapple.relations.com is the main website. It is not, in fact, a Kartra website because it was built for years and it's so easy. It exists on a Squarespace site, just putting that out there.
Yep.
And then the subdomain learn.pineapple.relations.com really is everything related to Kartra. And then if you do /free, because it's nice and easy and simple to remember, that's where you'll find all the free resources that are there.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I got to say thank you very much for being here with us today, Jessica. And you've taught us a lot about Kartra, and I'm sure people now know if they have questions and they want to learn more about getting using Kartra and getting involved with Kartra, they can come to you to get more answers. So, yeah. So I'd like to thank today's guest, Jessica Scotten, for sharing or teaching us all about Kartra. And again, you can find her at pineapple.relations.com and at her at learn.pineapple.relations.com/free. You can access her free resources, and at her Facebook group, which is Community of Kartra Users and Facebook. Jessica,
Joe, do you have any questions for me?
I do not at this time. So I appreciate all of your time and look forward again to when we have a chance to talk about things, all things Kartra, and I will see you in your group for sure.
Absolutely, Joe. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time.
Thank you as well. Thank you for watching this Encore presentation. I'm your host, Joe Sayles Jr., and this has been an Encore interview about the all-in-one marketing platform Kartra with guest expert speaker Jessica Scotten on the Flip Your Marketing Flops Digital Marketing and Lead Generation podcast, where you can listen in on the latest digital and lead generation trends and tips through conversations with marketing professionals. We help service businesses and entrepreneurs turn marketing challenges into better marketing results. You can get involved with the show. There are many ways to do so. You can email me here at the show. Just use joe@flipyourmarketingflops.com. If you enjoy the content on this channel, let me know. If you have a digital marketing topic you'd like to know more about, tell me about it. And if there is someone you think I should have on the show, give me their name. You are crucial to the success of this show, just as I want to be useful in the success of your business, and I want to give you information you want to know. So be sure to subscribe to this channel, hit the like button, and comment below. For more information, visit flipyourmarketingflops.com. And remember, every marketing flop is just a lesson waiting to be flipped.